I'll never shy away from the fact that I love point-and-click adventure games, and a while back you might remember that I reviewed a game called Simon the Sorcerer 3D, and at the end of that review, I teased a review for King's Quest VIII. And so here we are, 2 years later with 30,000 subscribers, so it's about time, isn't it? So let's dive right into it. Before we get into the game, we really need to cast our minds back to the gaming market of 1998. Games like Half-Life, Thief, Ocarina of Time, Spyro and Banjo-Kazooie all came out during that year. And so, some gaming sites even refer to 1998 as one of the best years for gaming ever. So, King's Quest VIII arrived at a weird time for adventure games. As in, adventure games were losing popularity fast in favour of more action-packed titles. And so, with this move to more action-oriented games, many adventure game companies had a choice. They could either evolve with the market or stick by their guns and hope for the best, and Sierra chose the former for the King's Quest series. Now, Grim Fandango was released in 1998, the same year as King's Quest VIII. Grim Fandango is considered a masterpiece these days by many people, myself included. But believe it or not, Grim Fandango actually sold very poorly on release. Yeah, apparently it only sold between 100,000 and 500,000 copies in 1998. Now compare that to King's Quest VIII. According to Roberta Williams, King's Quest VIII, despite its controversial move to a more action-oriented game, outsold Grim Fandango 2-1. She would go on to say that the adventure game as we all know and love it is a dead animal, except for those of us who love and revere them. Clearly, it wasn't actually worth it to put out point and clicks in the late 90s because who else was going to buy them except the hardcore fans? And with that in mind, we have to acknowledge that King's Quest VIII is not a traditional adventure game. Despite having some elements in place, we do have to expect something a bit different here. No matter how annoying it is for me to accept that this game is going to be different, I'm going to go in with an open mind, so let's do it. The game begins with a pre-rendered cutscene showing a king and his servant in their throne room. But something's off here, because this king is supposed to be King Graham.
We must begin construction immediately on a new silo.
Yeah, this guy, he is King Graham. I guess as he got older he became a generic king character with a posh voice who wears fine clothes. This is a sad far cry from the King Graham of the past, and this does not inspire me at all. Basically we've gone from...
You did? Well then, what happened?
To...
Ah, I see we are running a surplus in grain this year. Excellent.
What a sad display. The magic mirror, which to be fair is a staple of King's Quest lore, shows that there is a bad omen, which is actually just an exploding mask. So I guess there's our problem. So then we cut to a couple of unknowns having a conversation.
Good morning, Connor.
Oh, he's called Connor. That's a good name. I think it's a good one, but it's mine. I had it first, so stay off my turf, buddy. Then, a piece of the previously exploded mask falls from the sky with massive impact. Whew, I almost felt that. No! Really? Oh my god, I never realised it was possible to sound this posh while shouting no. It doesn't even sound genuine. It sounds like he's just been inconvenienced, like he lost his luggage at the airport or something.
Our deepest apologies, Mr. Connor, but it appears your luggage is nowhere to be found.
No! The basic plot of this game is everyone in Daventry, except our main character Connor, has turned to stone. And so, of course, we must embark on this quest to save everyone. So that's cool, right? Because this game, believe it or not, is a 3D action RPG. Yep, the debut of King's Quest in the third dimension after 4 years of silence. And this is what we're greeted with. How majestic. Just look at that draw distance. I'm at a loss. But this is what we have to do, so let's do it. So I immediately turn the corner and I come across her.
We beast it! Kill it! Kill it!
Whence came these foul creatures? This is madness.
Oh, okay. Connor is swole, man. That dude is hench. Murders big-ass monsters in a couple of punches. Wow. You see, you gotta be a beefcake to live in Daventry. Connor is taking after my main man Graham in King's Quest V here. Alexander, he was too weak to be a Daventry man. That's why he moved to the Green Isles. I mean, guys, Connor can punch monsters' heads off in a disturbingly gory fashion. He's like the King's Quest equivalent of Doom Guy. As far as the combat in this game goes, I mean, it's passable. It feels kind of clunky, but the best way I can describe it is kind of like Daggerfall mixed with Tomb Raider, and then there's also some like point and click elements mixed in with that.
Like a hybrid.
So then I did some more exploring and I found out that Connor is a total drama queen. In case that wasn't obvious enough already.
I know not the evil which enslaves you, Sarah, but I vow its defeat and the deliverance of your sweet soul. Now you need me. I shall persevere until you are freed from this horrendous evil.
Oh, see? Drama queen.
Also, can we talk about this bloody Shakespearean English?
Whither does it fly?
Where the hell did this come from? I know characters had some quirky lines in previous King's Quest games, but they never spoke like this. This is so bizarrely inconsistent with the series. Like, maybe you could have one character talk like that and it'd be cute, but for everyone? No, that's just grating and pretentious. None of the monsters here are particularly difficult to kill. All you really need to do is keep hitting them until they crumple into a little pile on the ground. Or, in the case of the zombie things, make a ripping noise. Eventually, I came across a creature by a pond.
I am a magnificent unicorn.
You sure, buddy? You don't have the, you don't have the thing.
Indubitably.
You know, I find it hard to trust a creature who knows the word indubitably, so I'm leaving this thing alone. I think that's the smart thing to do. Basically, all I've done so far is run about and beat up monsters. I don't even have a weapon or any armor. I'm just a brick wall of a man smacking everything in my path. Is this King's Quest? Really? King's Quest was a series about wit and cunning, brains over brawn. They even made a point of Alexander being a weakling in King's Quest 6. That's why he had to use his smarts to win. So honestly, this combat goes against the core of what King's Quest is about. I mean, King's Quest 8 has this! This! In a King's Quest game! Blood vomit! In the same series as Archduke Fifi La Yip Yap! I soon found an axe embedded in the ceiling of this room, but I was then ambushed by an evil samurai knight guy.
Despicable varmint. Whence came he to Daventry?
Oh, shut up, dude. Nobody cares. Shut up. He actually nearly killed me, like I should be dead right now. But I'm too good for that. I can take on anything. Oh, okay. How often can you say that a farting monster comes out of an outhouse in your dark fantasy game and beats you up with a newspaper? Yes, I died here. I was murdered by a newspaper. The hero of Daventry, slain by a tabloid. What even? Like really, this game is so tonally confused. Like it tries to remind us we're still in this whimsical universe, but farting newspaper reading monsters do not gel with blood vomit. I don't think Sierra knew what they wanted this game to be, and it really shows. The humour is practically non-existent, and when it is there, it feels like the wrong style of humour. And so, I like to make my own humour.
I am sickened by your plight. I promise to do all I can to save you from further torment.
Hey, wanna see me do a sick backflip? Bruh. You know what? I'm fed up with this world. Oh no. After a while I found some armor, which ended up being pretty useful in the long run against fighting monsters.
'Tis beyond my reach.
That sounds really familiar.
I can't reach it.
Never again. You know, death in King's Quest 8 isn't fun. Now that might sound like a strange statement, but King's Quest always had fun deaths, as it were. I mean, even if this one bends genre, they could still have fun with the death scenes. But when you die in this game, you don't even get a sarcastic little message. It's just back to the main menu. That's it. Not even a game over screen. Come on guys, I actually want to be berated for my failures. How dare you, Mask of Eternity? You can't even get that right. What else? Oh, how about Connor's extreme clumsiness in this game due to the awkward controls? Again, this seems kinda familiar. Do you ever have those dreams where you feel an ominous presence coming towards you and you just can't seem to get away from it? It's kind of what King's Quest 8 feels like. Going further into this game allowed me to grow accustomed to the controls, which honestly aren't too bad. They're certainly a little unorthodox and kinda awkward, but I wouldn't necessarily call them bad. The game uses the arrow keys and the mouse mostly, but you jump with the insert key. It's a strange choice I think, especially with WASD in space being the norm at this point, but it works I guess. After a while, we find our way into Castle Daventry, a location which has appeared in so many King's Quest games. and it looks largely accurate actually. It's a pretty nice interpretation. And these portraits, oh my, those are portraits from King's Quest VI. Yeah, okay, that wins you a couple of points. As the 4th comment I ever received would say, that puts a wangus on my pangus. It turns out though that the painting of Graham actually has a key hidden inside of it. Looks like all those years of inventory puzzles finally got to him, eh? So does that mean that Graham actually planned for this eventuality? Does that mean that Graham placed that key there knowing that one day it might be necessary to save the kingdom? And considering the key leads to a teleporter to key areas of the game, that would mean that he planned for this specific eventuality, that this samurai dude would take over. That would mean that Graham would be the unsung hero of this story. So you know what that means? That means that Graham is actually Ness from Earthbound. But hey, that's just a theory. A Graham theory.
I waited years to make that joke and it was worth it.
After this, I met a half-frozen wizard, and I needed his help to reach the Dimension of Death. Honestly though, this half-stone wizard just looks like he's giving directions. Dude, utility in dire circumstances? That's pretty awesome.
Hey wizard guy, can you like point me to the church at all? I'm kinda lost.
Aye.
So useful.
Also, Ghost Bear? Just wanted to point out Ghost Bear, because he ain't around for long. You know, I find it kind of funny that we're entering a place called the Dimension of Death, because King's Quest has loads of dark underworld type areas in its lore, and here we just have another one.
There is but one gate to life, but the entrances to death are many.
Oh, right. Okay, I don't care.
So the Dimension of Death is basically like a giant Egyptian tomb, so at least that sets it apart and gives it its own identity in the King's Quest universe. Although, the fact that it's a tomb again really reminds me of Simon 3D. You know, I'm actually starting to think that Simon the Sorcerer 3D was just a direct parody of King's Quest VIII. There's a significant amount of similar things here, and it's really eerie actually. Now that I'm used to the combat, it's not bad at all. Although, to be honest, it's way too easy. I'm playing this game on normal, and I haven't died since early in the game when I didn't have any armor. Anyway, considering we're in the Dimension of Death, here, Connor fights skeletons.
Oh wow, skeleton enemies? In a fantasy game? You've broken new ground here, guys. That's never been done before.
What I really loved about earlier King's Quest was the fact that it wasn't generic fantasy. It was fairy tale fantasy, which made it stand out a lot more. It had its own cute universe that referenced classic fairy tales and tropes along those lines. That was King's Quest's own identity. King's Quest was a series of whimsical adventures full of fantastic sights, zany creatures and ridiculous characters. Here we have none of that. I don't want to fight bloody Smork over here. That's lame. Honestly, just give me Cedric. Cedric over Smork any day. King's Quest VIII throws the classic King's Quest feel out of the window in favour of a generic medieval fantasy story. You know, I could forgive the genre change in this game if it still felt like it was part of the same universe, but that's the problem. It never feels at home in the series at all. Like, there's the occasional nod to older games.
Sounds!
Which is nice, but ultimately we have a story about a brave, lowly hero who saves the kingdom from an evil curse. Now, where else have we heard that except everywhere? Anyway, the Dimension of Death is basically a giant labyrinth. I mean, you guys got that part down. If I ever made a top 10 adventure game tropes list, labyrinths would at least be in the top 3. There's a bit more of a lean towards some puzzle solving here, and that's some classic King's Quest stuff right there. I actually even wrote some stuff down for the puzzles here, and I gotta admit, that made me smile a little bit. The small amount of puzzles that are here feel like they could easily fit into another King's Quest game, so this is a huge positive I can say about this one. But the puzzles unfortunately take a back seat here, because now we've got an easy but clunky combat system in the driver's seat. It's kind of depressing. In other news, in this Dimension of Death, we also run across a character called Azrael, and I'm pretty sure this guy escaped from a metal band's album cover. What a badass looking guy. And believe it or not, despite basically governing this army of disgruntled skeletons, he's actually a pretty chill guy who wants nothing more than to help you.
And I know what some of you may be thinking with this character called Azrael being here, and there's also some skeletons, and all I'm going to say about that is...
You know what? I want to goof off some more.
Hail, fair lady. May I slake my thirst at your well?
Oh,
Pray thee,
shaky.
I pray thee, partake of my rejuvenating water. Bring me some rust and mold.
Oh man, I hate it when girls ask for rust and mold. I mean, I'm not made of oxidization.
Well, technically, I guess, maybe.
What's that? A young maiden yonder requires my help? Worry not, child, I'll come to help you.
A moment later, he rushed out and ran into the mausoleum. He didn't see me, so I ran in behind him. I saw him slip through a magical door, and I followed.
Wait, you wandered into the dimension of death? Really? What the hell were you thinking?
Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
By the way, kid, you got off easy. Your parents are dead. Well, made of stone, but I'm not completing this game, so they're just gonna stay that way.
Even if this game doesn't click with me at all, after playing it a bit more, I totally get why some people love this game. Because, you know, there are actually people online who have serious nostalgia for this game and consider it an underrated gem. This game came out at a time when adventure games needed to deviate, and King's Quest VIII did its best in order to fit into that market. You can't blame Sierra for a huge leap which didn't quite work. You can see the love and care that was put into this game, but it ends up being a confused mess and a boring, generic fantasy game. While this game may lead many hardcore adventure game fans to dismay, it has a small amount of charm that some people may enjoy, but that's as far as I can praise it. Basically, King's Quest VIII is the Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts of the series. As in, it's not necessarily a bad game, but it deviates so much that it just feels off. Oh, and some people like that game too, so it's similar in that regard. But do I hate King's Quest VIII? Not really. It's not a bad game, but it's a bad King's Quest game. It doesn't properly fit into the universe in my opinion, and that's why I can't really enjoy it.
Overall, this is a strange chapter in King's Quest's history. I mean, it's a game that tried to fit into the market at the time, and succeeded, at the cost of being vilified by quite a few adventure game fans. It's easy to see why someone might hate this game, but it's also easy to see why someone might have nostalgia for it. So basically, it's kind of like Marmite that's dependent on nostalgia. That is a terrible analogy to end this video with.
Hey, whoa, that was a big review. I just wanted to say thanks to all of you who subscribed over the past few years, and especially recently. It means a lot to me to have so many people watching my silly little videos, and a special thanks to James Caddick or Caddicarus for being a helping hand, inspiration and friend over the years. I couldn't be where I am now without the opportunities you gave me or your kindness, dude. Take care guys, and I hope you all continue to enjoy my content in the future.
Indubitably,